Hi everyone, welcome to DevTool Time. We are here today with Suz Hinton and are super excited, but let's wait for about a minute so people can trickle in and just get comfy. And yeah, we can see who's already here joining us. Let's see. Ooh, we already have a few people joining us on YouTube, hopefully also on Twitch soon. Okay, cool. So just a friendly reminder for everyone who's here for the first time, you are able to ask any questions in the chat and we'll try to address them during the stream. But if we can't manage to do it, then we'll definitely add that information later on in the recap. Also feel free to follow us by adding us to the Google Calendar, and also, if you want to receive more updates about DevTool Time, definitely add us, visit our website and register. That way you can get any notifications about new episodes coming up and also just when our recaps go online. So yeah, welcome to the show. Feel free to say hi. Oh, hi. Whoa, a lot of people. Hey Yana. Hey, Samson. TJ, you're on Twitch as well?
Yeah, of course. I gotta have my emotes in the chat. You know, we already got a few other people out there sending them, I guess.
Nice. Also, if you want to follow Suz, she's on Twitter. There. Oh my gosh, I'm always pointing the wrong direction.
I do this as well all the time.
Especially because like half my stuff it doesn't mirror, and then like half the videos do mirror, and then that's what really gets me thrown off because I'm like super used to my like OBS one where it's like the way I expect, and then I'm like on this one and it stops. I don't know what's happening.
I try to use my like background, and in a split-second decision, I'm like, I need to point towards the door. So where's the door in real life for me? And then I'll be like, okay, it's right there.
Oh, that's a good trick.
So that's the only thing, but it does take you a bit of a delay to figure it out. So,
But it's definitely good. Cool. I think we're ready. So let's start. Hi, everyone. Welcome to DevTool Time. DevTool Time is a bi-monthly virtual event series where we invite awesome developers to showcase their really cool dev setup, their favorite tools, talk about their productivity hacks, and more. Thank you so much for joining us. And I'm Vanessa Ortiz. I'm the community advocate at SourceGraph. And today we're mixing things up a little bit because my co-host is TJ DeVries. Say hi,
I'm not Biang. Sorry, everybody, but I'll do my best to be a good co-host.
Nice. So TJ is a software engineer also at SourceGraph, and he's in our code intelligence team. You might also see him every now and then live streaming on our Twitch channel. So try to check him out there. And again, like we are super psyched today that we have Suz Hinton with us. She is a software engineer, a senior software engineer at Stripe, and she's working with the dev tools there. But also in her spare time, she's a very known open source developer and maintainer. And she is even more versatile because she also does, IoT, 3D artwork, currently pursuing a degree in cybersecurity. Yeah, she's a pretty awesome person. So we are super psyched to have her here. Hi, Suz.
Hey, thank you so much. That was a really lovely intro. And yeah, I'm really excited to talk about developer tools, given that's sort of my professional and my open source world. Like I've mostly just developed tools for developers over the years. Over the years. So this time I'm more talking about tools that other people have made that I really like. So I do like how that folds in. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much. Awesome. Shall we just start off with your desk right away?
Yeah, let's do that. I'm going to share my screen so that I can show you.
So at the beginning of DevTool Time, we tend to also share our guests' desk setup. That way we know how their environment looks like. And this is Suz's. Whoa, that is a very cool keyboard.
Thanks. So I've actually swapped keyboards again because, yeah, why am I like this? But this one is one of my favorites. It's the Ultimate Hacking keyboard, which I know sounds super ridiculous and over the top, but I really like a lot of the things about it. And so it is a keyboard that can split into two so that you can have sort of an ergonomic, comfortable position to type in. You can choose from different sort of switches and Some of the really nice things about it is you can actually operate the mouse without leaving the keyboard by, using special function keys. The whole point of this keyboard is so that you don't have to keep moving your hand on and off the keyboard all the time, to use the mouse or to sort of move around the actual keyboard itself to do certain things. Like everything is sort of gauged to help you keep your fingers on the home keys so that it's not sort of frustrating. You can just get out what's in your mind when you're coding and writing emails and doing those kinds of things. The last thing that I'll mention about these is they just started shipping modules. So when you split the keyboard apart, you actually end up with these little connectors on the very bottom of the keyboard, and you can have these extra modules attached. So some of these modules are extra little buttons that your thumb can hit. They also have like a trackpad one, which is kind of cool. It's this tiny little trackball if you don't like using the keyboard-based sort of mouse navigation. And so I'm really excited about the kinds of inventive modules they're creating. And I love how they're sort of plug and play. You just kind of slide them in and they just start working. So that's sort of a tour of the keyboard. I do like it a lot. I switched to something else recently because I wanted to move to some different switches. That's really all. But I use a split keyboard now as well.
What keyboard do you have now?
I have the Mistel, I think the MD770.
Okay.
And so that has a function row and it has the cursor keys in the corner too. So I sort of have more of a choice as to where I put the cursor keys. And I really missed having a function row because I do tend to use that a lot for things like pausing music and things like that. And I definitely missed that while using the UHK. So maybe if I got a couple of modules for the UHK for extra keys, I could just kind of have them dedicated to media stuff, and that would probably work.
Nice.
Very cool.
One of our viewers was asking how long it took you to get adjusted to a split keyboard.
Oof, yeah, that's a great question. I'll keep it short and sweet. I didn't do any formal touch typing classes when I was younger, and so I've always sort of typed with maybe like 6 fingers, and they do sort of cross over each other a lot, and I actually got pretty productive enough not to be annoyed. And then in the last couple of years, I just started getting much more frustrated when I was working on much more challenging work and needed to hold more in my head. And so I needed to get that out on the page faster. And it allowed me to kind of just respond to chat messages a lot faster and things like that. So I sort of hit a ceiling with my speed. So I've been teaching myself how to touch type very, very slowly on and off. And it's only in the last, I think, 2 months that I actually started using a split keyboard. And I still sometimes have like my right index finger hitting a hole and hitting the desk instead of the B character, because I'm just not expecting the B to be on the left side. But I think everyone runs into that with a split keyboard. It's always the B for them. So it's been totally worth it. It was definitely uncomfortable for a couple of weeks, but now I'm just, guns blazing. It's great. So
nice. Yeah, it definitely feels a lot different. I don't know if you have tried like ortholinear keyboards too, because then that like adds a whole nother layer of confusion when you start doing it. Yeah, I almost got like an Ergodox, like a split one, and I thought, I think that's just doing too much at once. So I sort of training wheels kind of thing. But I'm really happy with the UHK and also the Mistel MD770. I've been super happy with it since I got it as well a couple of weeks ago. So
nice. Ooh, we should get a typing contest so you can type things faster.
I can't type on command when people are watching. That's when I forget how to type, unfortunately. So it's just stage fright every time.
Nice. Cool. Did you also want to show us any other cool gadgets that you have on your desk?
Yeah, a couple of things that I really like. I have this this contraption. Oh, I can use my cursor right here, called the Big Knob, which is a funny name, but it is just like a really big knob. I like to kind of have different sources for me to listen to music, because music's a huge thing for me. So I have some speakers, as you can see, like up on the windowsill, and then you can't see it, but off to the right, I have like a vinyl record player. And then I have this here, which is a headphone amp. And so I want to be able to switch between using my computer to listen to music through like Spotify, or use my record player to pipe music in. And then I want to be able to pipe it out to multiple sources. Well, not multiple, but just choose between sources. So sometimes I want to use my speakers, and sometimes I want to use like the headphone amp and a set of headphones. So I love that it doesn't require any power. It's totally a passive controller, but it allows me to switch the sources of like the inputs and the outputs so quickly. And then I have a dedicated volume knob that is just like the master volume for everything, which helps a lot because my headphone amp is a little finicky when the volume is turned down, but my record player amp is quite strong. So like I really like being able to sort of dial stuff in properly.
That's
nice. Perfect way to create the perfect ambience for coding.
Yeah, it's really important to me, and I also study. As you heard in the intro, I study after hours for a degree, and so having the right music is really important. The last thing I'll call out really quickly is this CalDigit Thunderbolt dock. It just is the answer to my multiple computer prayers since I've started having to work from home. It's just one cable that goes from the back of it into your device, and I'm running. Because you get like, I think 40 gigs a second through Thunderbolt, I'm running literally everything through that cable. So my mic, my camera, my monitor display, keyboard, mouse, peripherals, hard drive, all of that stuff. All of it is running through that one CalDigit dock, including my internet connection too. I have a hardwired internet connection. And that is just absolutely incredible and very, very reliable. So I will highly recommend that if you switch between computers every day, because it just takes one cable.
Yeah. Nice. Cool. Should we start then with all the virtual? Oh, you wanted to share?
Oh yeah, sorry. I forgot that we had the other view too. So this is where I study. So I sort of like moved my chair over to this side. And the only other thing I wanted to call out, and I know you actually ended up buying one of these, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So this is like my sort of low-tech Pomodoro timer. It's got a tilt switch, a tilt sensor in it, and it just allows you to, depending on the way you tilt it, it is a timer for a certain amount of time. So I think you get 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 60 minutes. Yeah. And
nice glow.
It just has this lovely glow to it, and it doesn't make really arresting noises or anything. It's just when the time is up, the light just fades out. And so it's very chill. I like having it as an extra light when I'm studying late at night. And it's just nicer than having the distraction of having it on your phone or your iPad. It just allows me to completely remove all distractions while I'm studying, which I appreciate a lot. So I definitely wanted to call that out because I love it so much.
Yeah, I want to thank you for showing this to me, because I used to use the Pomodoro timers that you just, Google really quickly. But I noticed that number just makes me anxious. It's just like seeing this countdown. It's like, oh my gosh, I only have, and it just distracts me more than it helps. So this has been amazing as well for me. Thank you.
That's really good to hear. Yeah, I thought it was just a frivolous purchase, but in the end, it's definitely like being kind of key to my study. So I'm glad that it's helpful for you too.
I feel like it's a lot easier, or like it's just really easy too to get like distracted if you like put your phone out to like click 15 minutes. You're like, oh, I also got a notification. Well, let me just click check. And then you're like, oh, my Pomodoro timer just ran out while I was checking my notifications.
Yeah, and then you just feel off. You're like, do I make up an extra X amount of minutes? And your brain starts getting really annoyed. And I mean, when I study with my iPad to like read the textbooks that I have literally every single notification manually turned off. It's not even do not disturb. It's just like everything is turned off. So it's nice to just put my phone somewhere and just not care about it, because I don't need it for the timer. Because I am definitely prone to like starting up Twitter if I'm just like fiddling with my Pomodoro timer for sure.
Nice. Yeah. So we should definitely not distract you on this Twitter again. That's the Twitter. If you want to distract her while studying, it won't work.
I got 3 weeks off from study now, which is amazing. So I'm very excited to just not do that for a while. So
okay, cool. Shall we now switch to the virtual, all the virtual tools you use?
Yeah. Did you want me to keep sharing my screen, or do we want to?
Yep.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So I think the first, I mean, a lot of this is just going to be mostly within the terminal. I think they were the main developer tools I wanted to talk about today. So let's do, I sort of got Vim ready just because I know we were going to talk about this, but let's do a couple of the command line tools that I like. And I'm just going to go into one of my open source projects just so that I can demonstrate that. So the first thing is I use Bash. I know that there's kind of like Z shell is now the predominant shell on macOS by default, but I sort of am still a Bash girl. I just didn't see a reason to change. I have just a custom prompt, and it just shows like the immediate working directory I'm in. It shows me the branch that I'm on in pink and for Git, and then the little percentages and pluses and things. I think other people use emojis and stuff, but I just use like symbols to say like, do I have on-track changes? Do I have something that's staged? So the percentage is on-track changes, and the little positive sign is like there is some stuff that's staged for commit. So, so that's what my prompt is. As far as tools go, I just wanted to showcase 3. And so the first one is actually really simple. It's called BAT. TJ tells me it means cat with wings, which is very cute. Didn't know the history of that. So I have BAT alias to cat. But you can actually just do the command as BAT if you want. So if I cut out, let's say, boards.js, it's really, really subtle just because of the color scheme. But what this gives you, compared to just cat, which just echoes out the file in plain text, is you get syntax highlighting. You can actually pick your themes if you want. So I've picked Dracula, which is my theme for like almost everything in my terminal. And it also has line numbers, which is really nice. And it automatically pipes it into like less, I think, or one of those. It acts like less, which means that you don't sort of see your terminal just scrolling endlessly all of a sudden, right? It just kind of does it for you. And the positive of it too is, let's say I was doing the same thing, but I, wanted to like make this into a new file. It knows when it's being piped, so it just reverts back to like normal cat instead of all the line numbers. So, if I piped that into that, then the file would actually just be there without any line numbers or anything like that, which is really nice. So it's kind of like there's no fear in using it, because it really only does all of that extra output when you as a human are trying to use cat itself.
Very cool. Yeah. I've only been using cat lately, but that is definitely something worth looking into.
It's cool. The next one is called ripgrep. It's like grep when you're looking for like text in files on the command line, but it just gives you some nicer things, and it is actually like really, really fast. So if I wanted to run that and look for the word serial, and let's say I want to look in my library folder of this repo, you can see here that it gives you line numbers, and you don't even have to give it any arguments or anything, which is really nice. I like that it kind of separates things by files really, really easily, so I can see at a super quick glance like what's going on. And then obviously by default, it sort of tries to find the word within, like a long string, but like TJ was teaching me some extra tricks recently where you can actually just look for it. I think it's -W, right? And it'll just look for the word by itself, of which it doesn't exist. But if we did something like serial port, it would actually find that, which is kind of cool. And there was another one called -T as the argument, right? I forget what that did, TJ.
Yeah, -T makes it so that you can basically do like a type of file. So you could do like -T JS or whatever, and it'll only look into your JavaScript files.
Awesome, thank you. I forgot what that one was, but I thought that was really cool too. Yeah, so I just like it because it does a lot of the defaults correctly just by calling it, invoking it, rather than having to just like look up flags and stuff. And it is really, really fast, which is important for me at work because I work with a lot of really, really large code bases. So it's very, very helpful for that and just like grepping around really quickly.
Oh, nice.
I think
someone in our audience also suggested something.
Oh, yeah?
There you go. -W is neat and cool. Yeah, there are a lot of ripgrep users in our audience, apparently. I'm seeing a lot of comments around it.
Well, I'm sorry that wasn't new to y'all. I know the ripgrep's really popular, but it is something that I wanted to call out because it really does make my days so much easier.
Yep. Very cool.
I think the last one was, I think by Paul Irish, called diff-so-fancy. And you alias that to your git diff command. And so the regular diff, it's kind of annoying because I can't really sort of like change my machine to kind of show you the before and afters of any of these. But it just organizes your diffs in a way where you didn't realize how much easier it could be to go through them, especially when you have really, really big changes. And so if I don't really have any good changes to diff right now. So if I just do from the last commit to the current head, you can see immediately that it actually says what the action was. This file was modified, which file it is, in very clear and beautiful ASCII art, and then it will then split all of those changes together. It will group all of the different like changes together that you would normally see in your diff. What I really like is that it doesn't just mark the lines that you changed with the plus or the minus. It actually highlights the specific part of the line that you changed. So you can see on the bottom here, I removed the callback argument for this. And you can see here that I added these 2 lines, which was probably unnecessary. I should remove them, but I did actually change the spacing on here. And then this is probably a much more illustrated version for you here too. It's just so much clearer for you to just quickly go through this and understand exactly what the changes were. So absolutely love diff-so-fancy. Thank you, Paul Irish.
Yeah, I should definitely start using that because it's weird that when you're programming and you run into these not so comfortable situations, like looking at diff and realizing that it's kind of hard to read, but you just get so used to it, like, oh, this is just how it is. But then luckily some people are much more critical and are like, oh, hey, I can improve this. And they built these awesome tools. And yeah, like I didn't know about diff-so-fancy. So this is something I'll definitely be using in the future because it's happened so often where I'm like looking at the changes, like, but this kind of looks the same. And then it's like, oh no, wait, this is a little change. Especially when it's code that I didn't change when I'm code reviewing.
Yes.
So
absolutely.
Yeah, that is awesome.
I think that we all kind of have the things, like I love that developers are so different, and this is partially why this podcast is such a great idea, because we all get annoyed at different things, right? So I like to think that I'm incredibly patient, and then sometimes I'm empathetic to a fault. So I'll think, well, maybe this is the best that this person could do with their tool, or I won't even like think, no, actually we should change this. But in other areas, I'll get really mad, and then I'll be the person that's, making changes and things like that. So I think it's really good that we all kind of have our own sort of like specific things that we might be a bit passionate about when it comes to developer flows. And then shows like this will then show you kind of where your sort of like weaknesses were, where you didn't spot these kinds of frictions in your flow that you could really, really benefit from. So I think that's why it's really cool to have these conversations.
Yeah, and I think go ahead, Vanessa.
No, go ahead.
Okay. I think like tools like BAT are a great example of like they're so like well thought out that then you just like literally drop them in. And it's like, because now it's like, oh, I have the same exact thing that I was doing before for everything, except it's better, which is like so cool to think about. That it's like, oh, I just like alias cat to bat. I guess I'm done, and like it works perfectly. Yeah, which is awesome.
You don't have to learn any new keyboard shortcuts or tools or anything like that. It just does the thing. And I think that ripgrep is like almost kind of that, but like BAT and diff-so-fancy are like absolutely that. So I appreciate those things. I just don't want the cognitive load of like constantly tweaking my setup. And so tools like this are just so incredibly valuable. I think that's a really good point that you brought up, TJ.
And even I think ripgrep like is in some ways that, because it's like for me, when I have to use grep or I have to use like find or something, I still like have to go look up the flags every time. Like, so it's not that I've figured out the flags ever or like remember which order I'm supposed to do things, but then I just use RG with the same like idea that I was going to use with Git, and now I'm like all done,
and it just works. It's so forgiving. It's so much more forgiving than find and grep. Oh my goodness. And like whenever I do find, I'm just like, well, I always do this and it's always a mistake. And I'm always like, well, I want the name of the, and it's just, I always have to look up find, which is so frustrating. So
yeah. And like RG, you can just do RG -- files, which is awesome. I don't know if everybody knows that in chat.
Ooh, I want to now look for all
I
the
think if you
files.
just do, so I think the way you usually do this is you just give it a directory. So I just do like rg -- files and then like
Okay.
dot, and then you could pipe it into like grep or something else.
Okay.
So this is like my
Oh, I don't want to do that because like
it won't. It only gives you the file names. So it's like for find where it just gives you the file names.
Oh my god. Okay, let's test it out then because like node modules.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. By default, it respects get ignore because it's a good tool.
Oh my god, my mind is being blown. Okay, that is so nice. I'm always like too scared to do anything like this. I mean, this is great because it's streaming anyway, so like you know, it's not going to blow up. But at the same time, I'm always too nervous to do that. All right, well, today I learned. Thank you so much. This is awesome.
Nice. And yeah, that's what I also love about doing this series, that we can share so much knowledge, talk to so many people, finding all these amazing solutions, and that is why everyone should be tweeting with this hashtag.
Smooth, very smooth.
Yeah, these segues are just on point. I love it.
Do you want to talk about Vim real quick? Because I know that TJ is going to have some opinions here.
Yeah, now it's going to get interesting.
I don't know. So like, I'm not going to be very trollable though. That's the thing. So I think it's good to talk about Vim because first TJ maintains NeoVim and I'm not using NeoVim, just using Vim. But also just, I'm a very casual user of Vim. I only started using it 4 years ago. Again, just like touch typing is very painful to learn. Touch typing Vim has been a huge motivator for me to learn touch typing because the shortcuts are so much easier if you know how to touch type. Like when I first learned how to do like change word, which is CW, I was using my right pointer finger to hit the C and then my like left pointer finger to hit the W. So I would just take my hand off the keyboard and be like, doo-doo. And it's just not helpful at all. So that was a huge motivator for me. But other than that, I'm a pretty casual Vim user. I only have a couple of plugins. I use Dracula theme, and I use like Vim Airline for the little sort of strip at the bottom, which is really fun. And I use NerdTree for my file navigation. So yeah.
Nice. TJ, any comments?
No, I mean, I think a lot of people like they think if they're going to start using Vim, then they have to like, I don't know, memorize everything or like install a billion plugins or write a billion plugins or something. But I always just tell people like, you know, use what you feel like you're getting productive with and like having fun. Like I think text editing's pretty fun in Vim. You know, it's just like fun to like learn new movements and learn new things. And someone tells you like, oh, I could type like DAP to delete around the paragraph. Like, that's so cool. Like, oh, wow, I'm going to like try and figure out how to do that. And then, you know, you just sort of like have fun and enjoy like the whole, I don't know, experience of it. So I don't know. I don't have as many strong opinions about how people use Vim as maybe people guess that I will, knowing how much time and energy I spend on it. But yeah, I think it's cool. Like, do you use any other plugins besides those? Do you use like any sort of like IntelliSense or LSP style plugins when you're inside of Vim?
No, so we use a lot of LSP stuff at work for the Vim users, and I do like that, but I keep this a pretty minimal ship. So I think there's really nice things about it, but for me, it's just been nice not to have any distractions, to be honest. And like it allows me to practice my touch typing by not having autocomplete, which is very helpful.
Yeah,
for me, so.
Totally.
So yeah, it's pretty minimal. It's only a very, very small handful of plugins.
Biang is asking something, but I don't know if it's directly to us or just to the crowd. What sort of VPM can you get without touch typing?
What kind of what?
Words per minute.
WPM.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think I was at like 40 something per minute, which I know is like really not very fast, but like that's enough to do programming in emails. It's not as if like people are waiting 10 minutes for me to respond to like a chat message.
Everyone thinks Suz is sending them like a huge paragraph of text in Slack or something.
And it's like, thanks, okay. Where's the full stop? Yeah. So like I think I maxed out when I was trying really hard during a typing test at like 50 words a minute. But yeah, it's you know, it's not like ridiculous, but it's also like not, you know, off the charts either. So I was really hitting a ceiling.
Nice. Cool. I think we do have a little extra time for Hammerspoon. Was that the other one you wanted to talk about?
Yes. I'm very excited about that. So I use this tool called Hammerspoon. I think if you Google it, pretty much comes up as the first result. And it allows you to write, it's kind of like an alternative to AppleScript. It provides some really nice API abstractions that you can write scripts for in Lua instead of AppleScript, which I really like. And if there's something not available in the Hammerspoon API, you could just run arbitrary AppleScript within the Lua, which is nice as a backup option. So I have some like kind of cool stuff. So this searchy thing is one of the Hammerspoon plugins you can actually get. And let's say I want to connect my AirPods. I've written a quick Lua script to do that and then made it into like a menu item. So I'm not going to hit that now because they're currently connected and I don't want to mess around with it. But I can do that really quickly just by typing instead of having to like click up to the top of the menu bar. And another script that I created using Hammerspoon is, let's say I am studying and I want some like nice chill music, as we talked about before. That's really important to me. I could do some lo-fi study beats, and that will just pop up YouTube and start streaming the music for me, which is very fun. I just have to like turn that off because I can actually hear it. And so I just have some silly scripts like that. But it's also really, really nice for other things, such as I have this, I'm going to be really quick, I promise. I have this scanner that I forgot to get, but this is always my party trick with Hammerspoon. I have this like flatbed scanner, and it has to start up a specific program in order to for you to scan. But like the program name, I never remember it because it's not the word scanner or anything. It's called like Capture on Touch, which is ridiculous. So I've programmed Hammerspoon to pick up on it being plugged in by USB. And so I'm just trying to plug it in now, but I'm getting that classic thing where you have to try it 3 times before it works. And then if I plug that in and turn it on, it automatically brings that up for my scanning, which is really, really nice. So it's called Image Formula Capture on Touch. It's a Canon scanner, and there's no word scan or Canon in the program, so I never remember what it's called. And then if I actually turn that off, it just automatically access it as well, which is fabulous. And it has this creepy menu bar thing that runs too, that it actually quits for me as well, which is super nice. So Hammerspoon is kind of amazing for like both automation, but also for just like little scripts and stuff that you want to do that, you know, takes a lot of manual effort. And this is an example of like a file that I wrote where I have all of my little custom scripts, just so we can quickly go through that if you were just curious as to like what it actually looks like. So
very cool.
And then here's the scanner thing. It's just it's a USB watcher, and whenever the product name pops up, it will launch this, and then it will like kill both of the programs once it's actually removed. I like this a lot more than AppleScript. I used to write a ton of AppleScripts, but I really, really like these Hammerspoon scripts better because Lua is much more friendly. I know TJ's a fan of Lua as well. So.
Yes, I've written an, I don't know, embarrassingly large amount of Lua code. I don't know. It's just all of, you know, NeoVim switched to doing a lot of Lua stuff, and before that I had never touched Lua, and now I've written tens of thousands of lines of Lua. I'm pretty confident. So
nice.
Yeah, it's I think it's a really pretty and like elegant little language. It's like really well suited for this kind of thing.
It's really fun to mess around with. And this calendar at the bottom here is actually like a little virtual calendar that gets painted over the top of my wallpaper. So that's actually live and shows today's date and everything, which is cool too. And so that's a plugin that I imported right here.
Oh, nice. Calendar. I should check that out.
So shout out to my colleague MG. He's the one that introduced me to Hammerspoon because we were using the automation at Stripe for one of our conferences, and it allowed us to set up all our demo machines. And I was like, this is like magic. I love this. So yeah, shout out to MG who told me about that a few years ago.
I can just like make a new line wherever I want.
Yes, exactly. Oh my God, AppleScript is just absolutely terrible for so many things like that.
Bianca's even suggesting that we should add some precise code intel for Lua on SourceGraph. You up for it, TJ?
Yeah, I already told him I'm in. So
ooh, there you go. Yeah.
It'll make me happy for all of my NeoVim plugins that are getting a little bit large to not have precise code intel on them.
Very cool. Well, I think everyone learned a ton today. Thank you so much, Suz. This is being so enlightening. Everyone, yeah, thank you so much for joining us at DevTool Time. It's been rad, and I love seeing so many comments and questions on our chat. Everyone has been super engaged. This is so cool. Thank you. And please join us for the next DevTool Time, which will be June 23rd with Megan Marsh from HashiCorp. We'll also be talking about awesome DevTools there. So yeah, thanks so much for joining us. And again, tweet about us, follow us on Twitter as well. Tweet about DevTool Time so more people can find out about these really awesome tools that people are using, and this information just needs to be spread more. So yeah, thank you so much. See you in 2 weeks. Bye.